one of the steles at Monte Alban in the valley of Oaxaca. And it's a very, very old site. Some say it's the oldest city in the New World. I think that's not quite accurate, but it's the oldest large one. 2,500 years ago, it was a thriving center. And at its height, it supported a population larger than Newport's. And the Stele VGE-2 is a standing stone that's carved with a pictorial account of a transfer of power. And this piece is called Monte Alban Transfer of Power. There are 4 female figures and a male figure, and they're all rulers. And I guess they're, changing shifts. The material. Monte Alban, as I just said, it's ancient, and it's very stable. It's a remarkable piece of construction and engineering, and it's also elegant and beautiful. And it's lasted all these years because it is all those good things. It was very, very beautifully done. On the other hand, I was over at the Navy base working on the Navy Marine Corps intranet, and we were putting in hundreds of computers and network printers and stuff like that, and filling up dumpsters with this stuff. So I've been working with this for a couple of years now. And Styrofoam is just about as persistent as Monte Alban. And that's really, really unfortunate because it's a single-use product in almost every instance. And so I make these pieces. These pieces are what came out of the boxes. There's been very little adjustment to the actual shapes. But I was just fascinated by how cool the shapes are. They're really interesting. And they've just been assembled into this. You can actually walk all around. It's different on the other side. And the other thing that I incorporated into it, just because I'm very fond of Oaxaca and certainly the antiquities there, is this reddish color here. That's the same as the cochinilla, which is derived from this teensy little beetle that grows on, those cat teeth that look like Mickey Mouse ears? That's what they grow on. They live on those. And they're teeny little beetles, and the Zapotec civilization found out millennia ago that this made a fabulous red dye. And you'll see it very often in their beautiful rugs and other weavings. And it can just cover everything in the red spectrum, from palest pink through deep purple and bright scarlet, everything. But when the Spaniards arrived, they were absolutely stunned by this color. There was not a red dye at that time in the old world that was the equal of this. The Chinese may have had it, but the Europeans really hadn't seen this. So royal purple was what they had for royalty because that was the murex shell of the Mediterranean. That's where they got it. But they saw this, and they're like, wow, this is worth money, like gold. And they were very, very, very interested in the gold of the New World, but they were almost equally interested in the red dye, the cochinilla. Really, my campaign is, I have a love-hate relationship with Styrofoam because I have a lot of fun working with it. Because, it's amazing. You can work really huge with this stuff. I'm working on an installation now that's going to be 7 9-foot tall, 11 9-foot tall columns. And I'll be able to just lift them with one hand. Actually, they're going to be floating. So, that's possible. And, as an art material, it's great. But in the landfill, not so great. Not only that, styrene is a really nasty chemical. I used to be a boat builder, and I kept the material safety data sheets for all the chemicals we use, one of which was styrene. And you don't want to read it. It's really nasty. But guess what? It's in your bloodstream. And those plastic forks and spoons you use? Polystyrene. This is just the expanded version of the same thing. Just stay away from it, if you possibly can. And that's my soapbox. Take it easy.